Meanwhile, just 20 minutes after the media conference about Morocco Tai and the chase started, a tweet went out from the official New Zealand police Twitter account. It was a meme, an image of Steve Carrell from the comedy series The Office, grinning in a pained kind of fashion and saying in that way his character speaks, "This is the worst." The caption alongside that image read, "When we have to tell someone their family member has died in a crash." Memes are almost exclusively created to make a joke of something. The comedic image of Steve Carrell coupled with the caption provoked an immediate response from people on Twitter, stunned that anyone at the police thought it was appropriate. Zach Fleming took the tweet out on the streets of Auckland CBD a short time ago to ask people what they thought of it. The teenage boys you'll hear first of all lost a friend in a car crash on Boxing Day last year.
That's pretty sad, eh?
Pretty messed up.
Yeah. In what way?
They just memed someone's death.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So if that was your brother and you saw this tweet, how'd you feel?
pretty off today. I'd be really angry.
That was the New Zealand police who did that.
Yeah, the New Zealand police.
Page did that.
Yeah, so this is a real tweet.
Far out.
Pretty thing.
It's just in bad taste, really, isn't it?
No, it's offensive.
So who was that going to the family?
To the public. So this is a public tweet from the official police account.
Okay. That's stupid, bro. No one would like that being sent to them at all. Especially because I'm a father myself, I've got two. And if that happened to me, I would try to hunt that person down. But that's just my point of view.
Yeah. This is not okay from the police account? Is it okay from anyone's account? Is this funny for anyone to joke about?
That's not funny at all. That's just stupid, bro.
They've deleted it and said sorry, but is that good enough?
It's too late. The damage has been dane.
Is it funny to joke about a kid dying in a car crash?
No, not at all.
Is this okay for the police to send out as a public tweet?
No.
No, that's awful. Yeah.
Why is it awful?
Because it's making fun of a really sad situation for a family who's had a member die in a car crash.
How would you feel if this was, maybe your son or your father?
Yeah, I'd be quite upset, for sure.
The police have since apologised and deleted the tweet. In fact, they did so almost immediately. The Deputy Chief Executive of Police Public Affairs is Karen Jones. I spoke to her shortly before we came on air.
Something really, really wrong. We post hundreds of comments on social media every day, and in this case, we got it wrong. With the right intent, they were trying to obviously raise the very important topic of road safety, but the tone was wrong, the imagery was wrong, and all we can do is apologise.
Right, so this was actually willful. This wasn't a mistake. Somebody actually put this out thinking it was a good idea.
Yes, obviously in hindsight, and within 2 minutes they took it down. They just got the imagery wrong. They thought, I'll talk about the issue of, what is literally the worst part of the job is telling families that loved ones have died. They thought they would use a photo of Steve Carrell from The Office grinning like an idiot. As we said, all we can do is apologise. The imagery was completely wrong. It was only up for 2 minutes. We quickly got feedback from our community that we had completely used the wrong tone, the wrong imagery, and it was very insensitive, and we quickly took it down and we issued an apology tweet saying, you know what, we completely got that wrong, it was insensitive, and we will learn from this.
It strikes me as such spectacularly bad judgment, do you have to learn from this? Shouldn't you have known in advance that using a GIF from The Office, which is a black comedy, of a man grinning and saying underneath, "This is the worst," as he speaks about telling someone their family member has died in a crash. Really anyone who was even remotely sentient would know that was a bad call, wouldn't they?
As I've said, all I can say is, yep, we're really sorry. It was completely the wrong imagery to use, and we got it wrong, and we've, obviously there's well-meaning people behind us who are absolutely distraught because they come to work to try and, raise these kinds of issues in a sensitive way, and it was a wrong call.
Have you ever knocked on a door? Are you sworn or are you comms?
No, I'm not constabulary, but obviously I work closely with many hard-working, members of police staff that do that, and they have told me it's the hardest thing to do. Yeah.
Well, go and knock on a door, and the door is opened by somebody, and you have to tell that human face, "I'm so sorry, but your son or daughter or husband or wife or has been killed. And it's always still done by a door knock, isn't it? Wherever possible.
Wherever possible, yes.
So, in a way, not only is this awful for the victims, but it's also awful for the people who have to do that really tough work.
Yeah, and that is why, members of my team are, absolutely upset about this, because it undermines all the work they do to try and support our officers on the front line and get those important road safety and crash messages out there, because it is, you're right, it's completely, it demeans their work, and we completely accept that. I mean, all I can do is apologise on behalf of New Zealand Police that, we put out something that was so insensitive.
It also speaks, doesn't it, to the fact the road toll is up, and the fact that after trending down for a few years, it's risen quite dramatically this year, and the messages aren't getting through. Tragic cases of children in Auckland driving on the wrong side of the road. And you have to connect with people and get this message across, but this simply isn't the way to do it, is it?
No, and as I think I mentioned, the intent was to try and use our social media platforms to try and connect with audiences in a different way. And this time we got it completely wrong. Absolutely. Hand on heart, we are gutted.
It's Karen Jones, who is Deputy Chief Executive of Public Affairs at New Zealand Police.